And you yourself, Mr. Spawn, were a little bit questioning of the Flandre playstyle, but he's managed to pick up victories and they're banning it away.
Yeah, so probably wanting to run a tank on Sky. They've also got rid of the Nunu as well. But if we just home in on what Trundle does well, he deals with one tank threats very well.
Yep.
Becomes unkillable, then can dive onto the backline. Multiple tank threats. I still am not convinced that Trundle is a good pick. He doesn't have the best appeal and doesn't have fantastic backline dive by himself either. So we'll see exactly what comes through. And it's actually Snake that ban away the Kalista.
That is very, very strange. You have to think that they've got an idea planned here, and they probably realize that there's a few power picks here. They didn't want to leave that available for Whoosh. They're going to lock away the Gragas here for Beast.
The other thing that it has been is because they've liked to pair Kalista, Nunu, and Azir. And Nunu's been taken away. So maybe they're not willing to run that team comp and feel that Whoosh in the second round of picks might be able to pick up Kalista and do some damage with something like maybe a Thresh coming through. So we'll see exactly how King respond. Take away the Jugglemore comp. So that Lulu pick is more of a pick away, you feel, than a pick up for King. They want to make sure that they're not able to run that Kog'Maw Lulu. Of course, Snake were the people that in China really popularized that composition.
They certainly did. Oh, actually, my goodness, Barker insta-locks the Draven here for Crystal, and Ella thinking about going on the Thresh, not thinking about it, locking it in, and that was super fast and super aggressive picking it at the Draven.
Yeah, it certainly is. So taking a blind Draven so far, just confident in the play. They did this against Invictus Gaming earlier in the season and absolutely wrecked face. No matter how much dive came through, Crystal was able to keep himself safe.
I wonder how many Mikhail's Crucibles we're going to have this game.
Probably one.
Yeah, well, there were two in the last one.
Well, one on each team, I would assume.
Yeah, got it. Yep, okay. It's absolutely fine. Maokai going to be locked in, or thought about, here for Sky potentially in the top lane, meaning Assassin's going to be playing that Lulu. Actually, MLXG locking away the Nidalee has seen some recent success, but his first showing of that champion not so impressive. And we'll see how he goes entering the tank meta on this Nidalee, who we've seen can still be quite effective.
Yeah, it certainly can. And Nidalee just does such high base damage, has that execute on the Q. Early game unrivaled, so we'll probably see how that one comes through. As well as... So Cassio passed over there for Baka.
And this would be very interesting. Baka not known as a LeBlanc player. If they lock this in, it'll be quite strange.
It would be very questionable. Into a Lulu just shouldn't be done. Something more sustained. And Azir and Vladimir, they're much better pickups. I'm really surprised it's not the Azir. If anything, put that Emperor's Divide in front of your Draven. Let him free hit from behind. Give him some safety. Because right now, you've got a Nautilus. You've got a Maokai. You've got a Nidalee that's going to be wanting to dive on to try and assassinate this big Draven, and we'll see exactly how it works out. But he's gone with the Vladimir, adding some damage to this 2-damage threat lineup. We've seen Vladimir played a lot for exactly that reason. Don't want to fall behind in damage, and really does help that one out.
It does. Whoosh is looking at his Vayne. Has been playing a lot of Vayne just recently, as you guys all saw. Would be a nightmarish pick into a Draven lane, and you have to think that King are going to be all in on the lane swap potentially early on in this one. Time's up here for Liam to make his choice, and it is going to be Vayne locked in here for Whoosh. And the lineups have solidified, and you look over the King lineup, and they've got most of their damage coming out of the jungler and AD.
Yeah, they certainly do. So a supportive mid laner, a tanky top laner. It's really about getting around Whoosh and making him successful. What they do have, though, Atlas, is a lot of peel. You've got the Nautilus who can stand on top of your AD carry, repetitively hit that 4-second cooldown E, be able to continually kite back. They've got Maokai who can just use the Arcane Smash, tie people up with that Twisted Event. So if Whoosh able to kite backwards, not really much dive to get on top of him, you feel.
Yeah, you don't. But, I mean, if we're looking at damage here, Flandre does do a fair bit on that Gnar here as well. You can see Beast against MLXG, a large portion of the damage available for King. He's on the Gragas, who's going to be full tank, but Barker, he's on Vladimir, so much consistent damage, and then we go to Draven.
Yeah, it certainly does. So they don't lack in damage. They have a 2-damage threat coming through there. Vladimir will make everyone much more useful. You see the hook support laners coming through, and across the board, you think maybe Snake have a more balanced lineup, but King have a very clear win condition. Get Vayne ahead, take over team fights, really, I guess, try and just push the tempo of this game. If they ever get ahead and Vayne gets snowballing, there's going to be no way to stop it.
It's going to be very, very difficult. Are they lacking a bit of AoE, though, in this comp?
No, definitely not. You don't really have to go through with AoE. As soon as you got Vayne, you're just able to get through that tank line, then chase down the back line. That's what it's about, getting rid of one person straight away and then moving forward. They are a very good moving forward chasing team.
Yeah, and will they able to, no, I guess the question is whether they'll be able to kite the full-on aggression coming through from Snake, but we'll find out when we hop into this one, because going down the lineups, I'm just frightened for King's lack of damage.
Yeah, Look, they don't have the most damage. Lulu's going to make Vayne do ridiculous amount of damage earlier than she normally would, because remember, Vayne plays a lot of attack speed, so as soon as that help picks is on her, it's going to augment that even further.
Well, let's see if it does as we hop onto the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, game one between Snake and King, our LSPL rivals heading into this playoff match. And we'll see whether the season of the LPL is going to shine through here for Snake, or whether King can go back to their former LSPL selves. And MLXG able to take down the first ward in this game.
Yeah, early gold advantage going across to
huge.
MLXG. See how that one works out.
Not able to buy a potion straight off that one. A little bit unfortunate, but everyone is going to be hanging out in their own jungles for now. The deep warding to come through from Snake was thwarted there. And it looks like the lane swap going to be successful here for King.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be that way. And they're stacking saplings on top of the red buff. So they're looking to power farm through with both their members. We'll see exactly how quickly they can get around. As we're seeing, pretty standard stuff. Lane swap coming through.
And it is going to be Crystal and Ella actually taking away the Krugs here first up as well. So going to have a level advantage, but going to be unable to freeze that wave bottom. And do you think this is a strategic move, or do you think that they don't know about the lane swap just yet?
I think they do know about the lane swap. There's no way Vayne isn't going to try and dodge that lane with Draven in it. Just such a power pick coming through from Crystal. I think more importantly, what they're trying to do is get him to an early BF sword, where BF sword Draven versus Cutlass Vayne. Draven's just going to run all over that lane in any kind of trade.
And Flandre very early to this lane as well, as MLXG is going to start off the enemy blue buff. Wards to come down here from Ella just to spot out the fact that they're not doing that one. And MLXG going to take an early invasion.
Just standard lanes, of course.
Yeah, sort of standard vertical jungler.
Yeah, so able to get around there. They didn't take the whole of their jungle. They wanted to get across there nice and quickly. Beast, on the other hand, he's making sure he picks up an extra camp before he goes across there. Wants to have his smite available, just in case Nidalee does come back early. And you'll see both junglers will do very well because they have the sustain in their kit. Gragas through his passive, Nidalee through her E, and both with the percentage health damage will be able to rip through them.
And Flandre actually does have his teleport available. He can get to this wave that is now well and truly shoving underneath his turret.
There's no way you teleport to that lane.
Don't you?
Well, there's two people on your side of the jungle. There's a support Nautilus, and there is a Vayne.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he'll die.
Well, he might die. We'll see. It depends how optimistic he is. Barker is going to do a fair bit of poke damage here, and Crystal and Ella are actually hard shoving this wave, actually dirty farming between the turrets now. And Beast and Flandre here as well, so the fast push is the option here.
Yeah, fast push kind of coming through for both teams. One team farming between turrets, and once again, Zach, same thing for Sky. He can't teleport either, even though there's a couple of members down here with him, because as soon as they try, they're going to get dove maybe.
Yeah, very interesting. 3 members of King are going to head down to try and protect this turret, stop this one from happening. Snake, Flandre and Beast are going to head back. Yeah,
well, as soon as they see the fact that there's 3 members, Liam showing on that side of the map, they're able to now teleport Flandre in there. Danger is he's a little bit lower level than the Vayne, and Vayne deals with range versus range lanes extremely well, and the wave's pushing back. So might see if Whoosh can zone Flandre off any farm here.
Now we'll see. MLXG, we didn't see that. It's absolutely fine.
What's going to be started. Observer.
Barker going to ward over there as well. Just make sure that he is going to be safe in this lane. Probably wants to save up for that revolver before getting this one. And it's the makeshift 2v2. The CC extraordinaires versus the massive amounts of damage on this Crystal. Playing the Draven as well, of course. Signature champion of Crystals.
But as you so aptly pointed out, it's all about the Vayne CC. So if they, the Nidalee damage. So if they're able to ever get the Nidalee into the lane with a gank, there is just so much CC to come through from Nautilus as well as Maokai. Might be able to turn that into something as we see Flandre going aggressive.
Oh my goodness, that condemn was so beautifully timed. The Wallop not able to find Whoosh. His Beast was coming through. Of course, no explosive cast just yet.
Yeah, all they're trying to do is push this lane out. They might look for a dive, although MLXG, he's now up here. We'll have to see how this one works out. Now Mini Nars available with the exhaustion coming through. Not going to be able to.
No, and Wushin just going to hang out underneath this turret and farm it out, but freeze successfully broken now for Snake.
I can't believe MLXG didn't go for any harass here. There's now a ward there, so he's not going to be able to get in range with the bounce available. But Flandre was a sitting duck before that ward went through.
He's been pinged out now as Wush just going to try and hold this wave. Barker going to just transfuse a few creeps here as well. The mid lane definitely a farm lane, but the farm going in favor of Barker quite considerably as the spear not going to find him as well. Another transfusion going to mean that MLXG takes a little bit more damage than he actually gives to this lane. And Barker just wandering around more than happy.
Yeah, they're just trying to shove the lane out. MLXG takes some more damage, but in the end they get a free back for Assassin. He's up in levels now, level 6. He is 10 CS behind, so not doing too well. Lulu, of course, has early mana problems, always has been the case. So Vladimir, resourceless, being able to consistently farm a little bit better.
Yeah, and the wave's going to meet again. Vladimir going to head back as well, pick up potentially the revolver. Might grab something else there as well for his trouble. And Crystal going to continue shoving here in this bottom side. Boots have been grabbed by Barker as well, and he's not really bothering with the health potions.
Definitely not, and we see once again the swap coming through from Liam, now going into the top lane, so they're really prioritizing Vayne, trying to get Vayne ahead. Sky a little bit more self-sufficient with his passive, but Crystal, he'll be able to push in, take down this first turret, you feel?
Yeah, looks relatively easy as well, although the Sapling and the Arcane Smash going to work out here for Sky in order to clear out that wave. Now teleporting underneath this turret as well as Flandre gets condemned against the wall. The exhaust comes down and Sky just pops in to pick up First Blood.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile because the support as well as a jungler were also heading top, so they'll be able to trade turrets here, and they won't lose out on the first dragon. Good teleport coming through from Sky.
Yeah, really nicely played so far. It's only netted them about a 200 gold lead at this stage. Of course, not too much. Draven going to be able to finish off that turret, but this is already starting Wushin's path to success, you have to think, even with just an assist. Getting Vayne ahead early on is definitely working out in King's favor.
Yeah, it certainly is. He gets the free Cutlass in the back. I'm surprised that they are swapping back right now without taking the turret, because you feel if Draven goes back, picks up that BF sword, the lane will still be in Crystal's favor. Maybe they're hoping that he rotates into the top lane.
Yeah, we'll see what he does decide to do. Heading back now, does have an 11 CS advantage, 71 now in the back pocket. Built up a lot of adoration, you have to think. Probably wants to start netting some kills pretty soon. It's interesting because, of course, everyone wants to get kills, but Draven even more so.
Yeah, he certainly does. Just able to get those adoration stacks reset. Wants to get a kill fairly early. This is what the the lane swap does to Draven. Means he can build up a lot of spinning axes. That's why we see him push the lane more often than not, just because of that passive. And wow, Flandre, he's taking some damage.
Yeah, he's still going very aggressive, though, as he bounces out now.
Kind of trying to mind game Sky there, but Sky didn't really seem to care. He's very tanky with that Catalyst of the Protector already, and Flandre hasn't even finished a Hex Drinker.
Yeah, Flandre is going to go Mega Gnar now, just wall up some lanes here as well, and Nar's Sky back, and Flandre just seems to be playing with reckless abandon, knows that he's going to be heading back relatively soon, so he just thought he'd do his buttons.
Yeah, so he was just trying to clear out as much of the wave as possible. He has his teleport, so he'll be able to get back into this one. But that's still a bad thing. When you're Gnar, who is supposed to be able to harass out Maokai early game, in the mini Gnar form at least, can't trade whatsoever.
Well, definitely working out here for Sky, of course, picking up First Blood. Going to be helping. Zella going to try and clear out some vision down here in the bottom side. And standard lane's now going to break out. Crystal with a red buff as well.
Yes, he was able to pick that up from the bottom of the jungle. Gragas doesn't really need the red buff to stick to people. Crystal just using it to zone the Vayne instead. This is why the swap back didn't make sense to me, Atlas. Vayne just going to get bullied around in this lane, and is a very clear win condition to get Vayne going. She's in the jungle at the moment trying to pick up a Gromp camp for herself. Just not where you want Woosh at this point in the game.
No. He's able to grab that, though, and of course, Build Water Cutlass allowing her to stay healthy. But the wave, probably, as you mentioned, with the spinning axes wanting to be thrown a lot, is now definitely going to be pushing back towards King, so Woosh might be able to just wait under that inner turret and pick up some farm.
But the problem is, if it's pushing into the inner turret, then your wave spills into other places. That means Draven, he's free to go mid lane. He's free to take the dragon. Can even rotate top if you would like. So you see straight away, they push the wave in, they get the early dragon. Sure, it's not a huge deal. King were probably going to give that one away anyway, but they're just not in a position to be able to fight back. Hell, if they take the jungler into the bottom lane, they can probably even zone off the turret.
And you can see Flandre, he's happily defending the inner turret here on the top side of the map. MLXG going to be counter-jungling the Wolves here as Snake make their way into King's jungle. MLXG actually going to leave the little ones here as well, so not wanting to get a timer as Flandre, see whether he actually knows what's going on here. Not going to be able to get the boomerang as the smite definitely stronger than that. But it's an easy early dragon here for Snake, but still behind as far as the gold's concerned. King just holding on.
Yeah, so King are definitely doing some good things in the other lane. So Assassin, he's fallen behind, but it's kind of evened out at about 20 CS after that early 15 CS lead was grabbed by Barker. That's not really massive of a deal because of how well Nidalee's doing, and Nidalee is a real AP carry on this. You feel that Lulu's just a little bit more of a support player throughout the entirety, so as long as Vlad doesn't get ridiculously snowballed, and 177 CS, that's good, but it's not like something out of control at this point. It's really about Sky. He's getting tankier. He's going to be able to deal with Draven better than Nars able to deal with Vayne throughout the entirety, just because of how Vayne's kit works. But the one area they gave up a little earlier than I expected them to was the Vayne versus Draven. Whoosh was in such a good position against Nara, and they gave it away.
Yeah, and it is going to be the Bloodthirster now completed for Crystal as well, so bit of a damage spike for this Draven, which is a terrifying idea in itself, but when it's Crystal's Draven, it's even worse. Whoosh able to push out this wave, actually evens out the farm as well, as you can see. Assassin taking a transfusion there, and Barker, now that eased, the Tides of Blood starting to get some points, able to just instantly clear these waves.
Yeah, just be able to stack it up. He's got some AP for himself, finally got some cooldown reduction coming through with that Will of the Ancients. And this is what we said, if you freeze the wave, all of a sudden 4 members top, they're going to be able to hit back with the turret of their own. King, they're trying to do their best to trade in the bottom lane, but if you don't bring anyone, they're just going to continue to push. And look how much quicker Crystal pushes than Whoosh.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and he's been left alone, Whoosh, there on the bottom side of the map. They're probably thinking, yes, we want to get a whole lot of farm onto this Vayne. We want to be able to take down this turret and deny farm. But this is an inner turret that they might lose for this as well. Only Maokai, he's not going to be able to defend on his own. Yeah,
and more importantly, might actually get doped because they're rotating even more members in there. Sky, he tries to look intimidating, but he's not even that scary.
Yeah, there's the Vengeful Maelstrom to come through. Not going to be protecting him from much, as Ella able to get out of the way from the spear as well. MLXG not quite able to find enough of that one. There are still creeps here, and Crystal actually still in tower range, gets Arcane Smash back. Sky going to get ulted up by Lulu there as well, but Sky's going to die a little bit baited there as Explosive Cast squishes Assassin against the wall. It's a nice Glitter Lance for some extra damage, but Beast forced to flash out as the anchor came through, but Snake, they're able to disengage after picking up the 1 kill, and Barker was just free to stay in the mid lane.
Yeah, right idea. Horrible execution coming out of King. A little bit early coming through from Sky. You felt that they were going to stick around for another... Wow, Flandre.
Flandre looking for something.
He just jumped into a wall.
Yeah, look, there's no need to draw attention. Makes it over this time. Flash Nara as well. There's the Hemo Plague and the pull to come through from Barker as well. Depth charge onto Flandre. They're going to pick that one up under the turret, but there's the Descent onto Sky. Liam looking to try and get some action down, and look at Crystal just explodes to the damage as Whoosh now going to get so quick with the Whimsy, and Barker doesn't quite have pull available. Beautiful Condemn. And Whoosh picks up another one. 2-0 and 2 now for the Vayne. And King, that was what they wanted. A beautiful re-engage. That was a 1 for 4.
Yeah, a much better execution under the turret this time around. You see how much CC they have, and that's exactly what Sky was going for in the top lane, but wasn't able to pull it off. Went a little bit early. This time, with the Vayne available, you saw the chase that came through. As soon as the Whimsy went on, just so much speed that would come through. Blade of the Ruin King finished off up in CS now because of some better, I guess, ability to stay in the bottom wave while her team held on. And she's going to pick up a huge creep wave now on the bottom lane. Whoosh finally starting to get going.
Yeah, and we've seen this from Whoosh more recently than we have otherwise, is able to sort of be the solo carry for his team.
Yeah, so able to get in there, and you see the replay. That's a turret dive coming through from Flandre. They grabbed the first kill, but the CC to stay through. More importantly, they actually cleared out a lot of the minions incidentally here and then pulled Crystal back under turret for a cheeky turret shot. From there, Whoosh, he's just able to chase for Daves, gets the speed up, looking for position, knew the pull was already used aggressively from Barker, has such a long cooldown, rank 1, and just able to clean up the back end of a team fight.
Yeah, not too bad at all, and they got a lot of adoration stacks off Crystal as well, who's still yet to pick up that kill. Needlessly large rod, though, is completed by Barker. He's going to have a lot more damage, and very importantly, it is a Giant's Belt now on Flandre. He does have a little bit more tankiness. You saw that mini now very squishy. Yeah,
it certainly was, and he's in a hard position. He wants to pick up the Warden's Mail to slow down the attacks and everything coming through from the Vayne, but he also has to itemize for 3 magic dealers. When you run a Vayne composition that only has Vayne as AD, you're caught in really hard decisions because normally the choice for that is I'm just going to itemize HP, make sure that I'm tanky health-wise against everyone. Vayne, of course, loves when people do that because she stacks up the silver bolts.
Yeah, and the silver bolt's going to be tearing through the high health targets, and Cinderhulk users don't really like Vayne too much. Death Sentence not going to find its mark there, as neither does the Spear, and this Pink Ward now under threat from King. Dragon up in 3 seconds now as well. Snake with complete control over the area and have now grouped up. They do have Flandre with his teleport available as well, as Beast is looking for something. Probably not the Maokai, who almost has the Frozen Heart completed. He's pretty tanky now at this stage, 2, 1, and 3. Sky's had a great game so far, despite being a little bit behind on farm now, considering Flandre able to push this top wave.
They haven't really pulled the trigger enough, quick enough here, King. They've got Flandre still in the top lane. He's starting to push that one in very aggressively. They'd already done all the work earlier to make sure that was low. They're trying to poke out mid, but Flandre, he's just going to be able to take a free turret.
Yeah, he's going to. They've already put a lot of work into that turret, as you know, so that's going to go down very easily.
He's got the perfect transform for Narbar as well. He's going in.
Yeah, he's looking for the teleport here as King. They're just going to disengage from this one. The Dragon that King prepared earlier just going to be taken here from Snake. They're going to go for it. Smeet. Oh my goodness. Beautiful smite. And then the escape as well, as Liam looks to try and get something going. Nice boulder to slow down MLXG.
They've got them cut off here. This is really good. Flandre, he's going to transform back into Mini-Nar by the time it comes through.
Oh my goodness. There's the Nar into the wall though. MLXG taking a lot of damage, but that's going to be the death charge. Coming through as Whoosh going to get Hemoplague, but there's the Wild Growth at the same time. He's in a good position here in the back of the fight, but so's Crystal as the box comes through. It's a 1-for-1 so far, and no real triggers pulled.
Yeah, they just waited not long enough. They were so close because that Gnar that came through was probably the last second that Flandre could have pulled the trigger, and it was in a pretty good spot, you have to think, to get it done. So in the end, they were in... King, they have fantastic ideas about when to fight. Their execution is just like always tiny bit too early.
Little bit too early. We are going to have about 1,000 gold lead now for King, so nothing too much, but the 2 Dragons are going to continue to be a bit of a problem here as Snake develop this game, because if they can keep control over that Dragon area, then, you know, a gold lead like that is nothing at all. Even before that situation, and these 6% stats are really going to start stacking up in advantage of Snake, as Crystal able to clear this one out. It does get hit by a spear though, but being able to go for a Bloodthirster first, probably pretty good against all his poke.
Yeah, it certainly is able to build up that shield. You see straight away he moves into the jungle, wants to get that one done again. Flandre, he used his teleport, so he's not going to be able to support, but you see he clears out waves pretty quickly, so might just be able to run up. King haven't given up on this siege though. They want to take down the mid turret.
Yeah, they're going to try to, as Barker is able to get in range of the Tides of Blood, and that's very, very important. It's sort of like they've got a lot of wave clear if they can approach a minion wave.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. That's exactly what they're looking to do. Walk up there with the Vladimir. He's got his pull to keep himself safe. There is a lot of CC that will come through from this King lineup, but you see they're not able to push that one in quickly enough to take it down. Barker too good at wave clearing at this point, so they're just going to send Whoosh bot to clear out a minion wave.
Yeah, Wish more than happy to do that as well. Still has about a 5 CS advantage. Going for the purple build here, the Ghostblade going to be the next option. And does that mean that this Vayne is going to opt for a bit of sort of mid-game split pushing?
Potentially, I don't think so, still. I think that he's just going for a quicker power spike because Lulu will augment his late game damage so well. Also gives him a pretty good transition to an Infinity Edge. Gives him very...
the bit of crit.
Yeah, gives him some crit in there, able to get that one done. So we'll see how that works out, but... Snake now reversing this turret pushing, might be able to pick up a turret on their own. Not much wave clear in the mid lane.
Yeah, you see Flandre with the teleport as well. A lot of respect given to that Mega Gnar. And just headbutts the turret to death, no problem.
Yeah, so Transform coming through there at the right time for Flandre, able to zone people away with the potential of that Gnar ultimate. Always scary to be anywhere near a turret when that one goes down. As MLXG, he's going to look to give that blue buff over to Assassin, you would think, just because Wild Growth, very important cooldown in this composition. He's picked himself up an early Void Staff, trying to get some magic damage through there, as he recognizes the Hex Drinker has been picked up by Flandre, and he's probably going to be frontlining a lot of these fights.
Yep. And of course, it is going to be the Archer build of old here for Crystal. He's completed the last Whisper, able to chunk through that Frozen Heart that Sky managed to pick up. And it's just Crystal's general build here as well. We'll see where he goes from this stage. Of course, when he does manage to snowball a lane, you often see the Brutalizer a little bit early, but see what he goes for now.
Takes a spear, and that's a little bit more damage coming through, but able to life steal that up. I like what you said about the Archer build because it makes so much sense against the Frozen Heart. Not only is it a lot of armor, but it's a lot of attack speed reduction, and Crystal, with those resets coming through from his W, doesn't really care with this build, able to just get a lot of work done with a couple of auto attacks.
Yep.
Also makes his ultimate do a lot of damage on the backline, so if they're able to dive in there, get the Hemo Plague across everyone, that might just be enough. The Vladimir combo, as well as the Whirling Death coming through with a Hemo Plague, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, the amplification working out, and we'll see whether that actually manages to work, because that involves Barker being well into that front line that you've already stated. What's a CC?
Well, there is, but he's got the double offensive summoner, so if he Ghost Flashes with a pull, he might be able to get onto the back line and get some work done. It really is about the Hemo Plague. Then let Gnar do his thing. Send the Whirling Death across. They have one of those wombos that, until you really look at the compositions and see what they do to a backline, you don't really see. It's kind of like when we used to see Ezreal Gnar.
Yeah, Death Charge actually going to be thrown out here. It's going to be the Death Sentence in response as Beast was forced to flash away.
Ella sends a message. Liam misses his. Ella hits his.
Well, it wasn't a miss. It was dodged with a flash.
Yeah, it's a miss.
All right, got it.
He had his flash available as well. He could have returned the favor.
Just doesn't worry about it. Rabbidan's Death Cap, though, completed for Barker, so big power spike here for the Vladimir.
Of course, you have kind of 3 steps of hooks. You have Blitzcrank. He kind of brings them all the way to you.
Yep.
Thresh, he's the opposite. That doesn't really take them very far at all. Then Blitzcrank, Mr. Meet you halfway.
Yep. He's the glass half full. Do you reckon he's a glass half full guy?
No, he's pretty sad. He's been under the water for a very long time.
Glass half empty.
Maybe his glass is way too full. Maybe he's that kind of guy. He's just got water everywhere. Hates it now.
I feel like the analogy never really worked at the beginning, so we can go with whatever we want at this stage.
We certainly
Snake,
can. No one's going to be able to stop us. Let's get realistic.
I don't know about that. Do have 1,000 gold in the lead here, approximately, for Snake, though they've managed to claw it back just a little bit. Dragon now is going to be the option. Both of these teams very much wanting to fight around this area. King looking for their first, and Snake looking for the movement speed and to deny the first Dragon away from King.
Very important. Flandre just is transforming back into Mini Gnar now. So if King pull the trigger right now, Flandre not going to have the ultimate available.
Yeah, but, I mean, this is something that we've really spoke about King before. It's the fact that King unable to really make these spot-on decisions in the moment.
They have the most indecisive shot calling in the league is what I think you're trying to say. They really don't like pulling the trigger.
I'm not the pejoratives guy. That's you. You know, and I was giving you that edge. And Snake, they are going to be able to take away this Dragon. The smite
Look
from
how
Draven.
slow it is. Once again, though, maybe Barker caught out.
Yeah, Sky looking for something. Stand aside, though, perfectly aimed. And that box really disengaging beautifully here for Snake.
To the point where Flandre didn't even have to finish the teleport. He pushes a wave in. Now they might try and force, but honestly, it's way too late.
They're going for something. Of course, this tower very, very low. King have the option of trying to get something done. Whirling Death going to destroy all of the minions. As the spear just going to miss.
And for a team that has pretty good engage with the speed up of the Maokai, the flash twisted advance can come through. They've got Liam to just ult someone, to be honest. King really making a meal of this.
Yeah, and Flandre actually took a wander down. Has actually now turned into Mega Gnar form. Liam gets hooked up there by the Death Sentence. There's the Gnar back into the team. The wallop onto a couple of members as Beast manages to get it on Woosh, and there's the Hemo Plague as well, looking to try and kite this one around, but Barker picks up Assassin immediately. Snake's frontline trying to do some work, and they take down Woosh, who gets killed by MLXG, but it's not enough, and King, with only 2 tanky members alive, and Crystal still just gliding along the mid lane, and they'll be able to take down an inner turret.
Yeah, so they get a turret, they get the one team fight, they even got the Dragon. Atlas, if I'm Woosh, I'm playing something that can initiate, like Urgot from now
Ash.
on.
Where is Ash?
Because no one on his team wants to pull the trigger, and when they do, it was onto a Nah.
Yeah, and it was because, you know, Mini Nar walks in, he's on his own, he's a little bit caught out, but he's also gigantic, and it's Flandre. He doesn't care.
But he also was 90% through the transform when that fight started, was just able to dive onto the back line, got the double Nah. They were set up perfectly by a great Beast Barrel, but honestly, I could have hit that barrel because no one was going anywhere because of all of Flandre's CC.
Yeah, Flandre really made it into the right position, but this all comes back to not pulling the trigger quickly enough because he wandered from the top inhibitor turret in King's base.
He also cancelled his teleport when Sky had his teleport available. Now, King going for a desperation Baron. They're all out of sorts.
Yeah, King not really sure what to do here, and I think they know that they haven't really made the decisions quickly enough, and then they go straight to the Baron like, yes, we'll make this decision. We'll make it right now, but it was watered up anyway.
But at least all their members were there. I would rather watch King make bad decisions all day than no decisions. They're just so indecisive. MLXG able to smite away that Grom. Take the small victories while you can.
Well, it's a relatively big victory as well because Snake, they love killing Groms, so denying that away could possibly upset them.
We see the wave clear from Barker. He's so far ahead at this stage. Got himself a death cap and another blasting one. Has felt that he can just go all out aggression here.
Oh, wow. And the transfusion to pick up the Rift Scuttler as well, and MLXG unable to lock that down. You would have thought that a fadeaway auto attack would have got that for them so they could have that permanent vision available around the Baron. But Snake, not even too worried about that objective. They're looking just to push up these waves.
And the scary thing is, this isn't even off the back of Crystal. He's had a pretty ordinary game, to be honest. But yeah. Flandre, 50 CS up. Barker, he's 70 CS up. And this jungle Gragas has just been much more useful than Nidalee. Nidalee never been in a position to do real damage. And you have to think it's because there's just not enough aggression there out of King. Not able to match how much Snake liked a mid-game teamfight. Maybe a little bit worried that they just don't have the ability to go toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah, it's almost like they're psyching themselves out here a little bit because King had a fantastic early stage of the game. They made the right strategic choices from that stage, but now seem a little bit lost.
Yeah, certainly, and they've got arguably the same mid-game spike. The 2 items that Woosh has gone for with Lulu, don't get me wrong, just one-on-one. Draven going to still tear him apart, but you add the Lulu in there for the augmentation, the extra movement speed, all of the utility. That's why Assassin's playing this champion when he's probably arguably just as much of a carry on this team as Woosh. Just doesn't make sense to me. They're not picking the fights that they can win.
Yeah, and do you reckon having sort of Lulu in the hands of Assassin is what might be throwing King through a loop? Because Assassin hasn't played a lot of these sort of utility-based champions. He's played a lot of sort of the Cho'Gaths who have the Rupture that you can go in off of. Maybe Assassin's sort of the one that's sort of out of his comfort zone and it's playing with King's mind.
Yeah, potentially, because honestly, Barker has looked so much better than Assassin this game. It's not only the ADCS lead, it's the ability to impact these team fights when he gets in there.
About that.
And yeah, I definitely agree. That might be something to do with it. Not to mention the fact that Cho'Gath's still a really good pick in this meta.
Yeah, and he wasn't banned away and has been a pretty consistent ban here for Assassin as well. But we haven't spoken about the fact that Barker picks up this Vladimir and looks fantastic when, you know, it was the middle of the split and it was only the Xerath. Yeah,
I think that Barker, he's much more comfortable on the late game carries because the thing about Barker is he's a very farm-oriented mid lane. Yeah. If you point out all the champions that he's good at, it's the Xerath, it's the Azir,
the Karthus.
Even the Lulu, the Karthus, now the Vladimir, they all have one thing in common. All they want to do in lane is be non-interactive. Then when they get to the team fights, they start taking over, each in different ways with damage, poke coming out of Xerath to the team fighting ability of an Azir or a Vladimir. But this seems to be the kind of champion that Buck is really comfortable on. When it was the Assassins running around in the mid lanes, the Aries, the LeBlancs, he was looking continually outclassed because people were able to take advantage of the fact that he just wants to farm.
Yep.
But now that it's a farm-heavy meta for the mid lane, he's right in his comfort pick. And that's what I said. Snake got, I feel, much more advantage from this patch than anyone else.
Well, they're certainly making it work for themselves. The last few weeks here, watching Snake in the LPL has been fantastic as Flandre, perfect Narbar, going to teleport in on this dragon that was started up here. That Wanda starts like, whoosh, gets death sentenced. I have no idea how that happened as Crystal gets the Whirling Death over Liam. Just going to get destroyed. Whoosh, flash, nah, into the wall there by Beast. It was actually, in fact, the ultimate to come down, and this is just cleanup now as King are just getting destroyed. Beautiful initiation from Snake, and I have no idea how that death sentence hit the mark.
Yeah, just able to weave it through and pick out the priority target. The reason it was so important was because straight away the QSS had to be utilized. That meant the Flandre, super aggressive, flash Nars on top of it. All of the follow-up damage came through, and now MLXG might have even been caught out here by Beast, who's going to solo him.
Yeah, looking for something. I'm unable to body slam quite in time, but he's just going to play guard duty as Crystal able to tank up this one, and Ella trying to do some work. Beast says, all right, okay, Thresh, you might die, so I might need to come in here and actually be a tank as MLXG looking for something. Flandre going to be taking the dragon in the meantime. They get a dragon and a Baron, a one-team fight. This is massive for Snake, and they've taken over the game.
Yeah, King have just looked outclassed game one. They need to go back to the drawing board and think, what are we better at than Snake? It's the early game, rotating around the map, getting those crazy leads. They don't need to pick late game because, honestly, even if Snake are behind 10,000 gold, they proved against, I think it was OMG, that they're able to win those team fights that can get them back in the game. So why would you try and pit late game versus late game? Just pick your strength.
That makes sense. And speaking of making sense, Flandre actually decided he'd buy a Thornmail, sold that one back and bought a Guardian Angel. So Snake obviously looking to try and finish this game very soon.
Yeah, they certainly are. But the other thing about Thornmail is because the... oh, wow. Let's take a look at this replay. It was just all about the weaving of that hook through. As soon as that was popped, you felt Flandre. He is licking his lips right now. He flashes over the wall, gets a great
and then the barrel as well.
Just everything came through at the same time. And this is something that we've always complimented Snake on. Their team fighting. If you group up as 5, which is why we said Aurelia might be a great pick in this series, you're probably going to lose 7, 8 out of 10 times.
And this is a Draven without a kill as well, this game. And he's still been doing fantastic work. That Whirling Death has been ridiculous in getting these squishies low.
He's really just an ultimate bot at the moment.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's all been about Flandre. It's been about Baka, as well as the fact that Beast is in there with great ultimates. Crystal hasn't had to do anything this game. Honestly, if you put Crystal and Whoosh side by side, you would nearly say that Whoosh has been a better performing AD carry for this game.
Yeah.
But it's because Crystal hasn't had to do anything.
Yeah, actually, Sky going very, very deep onto this one. Still taking a lot of damage, but managing to heal up a fair bit as well. Liam taking a lot. The Hemo Plague doing some work. We're still alive on the back line, but the Hemo Plague goes off, and Liam's going to die as the Baron up creeps come through. Barker actually flashing forward, gets polymorphed. There's the pull. Manages to survive for now as the Gnar back into the wall. Whoosh gets destroyed. Ella going to die as well as Sky now in a little bit of trouble, as he's going to fall down. It's going to be Barker picking up that kill, and Crystal tanking up this turret now decides that he wants to kill it as the spears come down, but the surrender vote comes through for King. Down 10,000 gold, and they tap the mat at the first inhibitor.
Yeah, why not, Atlas? That last fight was a 4v5 when Sky first initiated. There was no Flandre at all. There was no front line, but they're still able to do all of the work, and if I'm MLXG right now, I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that Sky, Lulu, Assassin and Sky really looked out of sorts.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, Assassin would probably be the one that stands out for me because Assassin has been playing fantastically. He's often been largely to do with why King managed to get early leads.
Yeah, certainly looks to be the case, but Snake, they had their number from start to finish. Even the swapping back of the Vayne into the lane, it really wasn't a good idea. They could have continued that lane swap for another 5 minutes, got to the Blade of the Ruin King point where that's when Vayne wants to be back in the lane with the AD carry, hunting them down, making sure that the extended trades go in her favor. Swapping back a Cutlass into a BF sword, that's into Draven's hands.
Yeah, and it's just, and it's not what we